Oprah's 2020 Vision Tour, Your Life in Focus, because what we want is for you to be able to express and put the focus on what you really want as you enter this new decade. I will tell you this. Using perfect vision in 2020 to help you focus on exactly who you want to be. Many days after the show, I would spend talking to people who'd come from all over the country. So the most fun part for me was after the show was over. And I would always ask this question: tell me what makes you happy. And so many women, and a few good men, could not answer that question. Women always start out talking about their children. Oh, I just want my children to be happy. And when you answer that question about your children, what is the more for you? What is that real answer, and not the answer you think you're supposed to have? What do you really want? That is such a powerful question, and I know that if you begin to answer that question, what do I want, from the spiritual center of yourself, the answers will unfold. They do not unfold when you try to answer from the outside with materialistic answers, because you are a spiritual being having a human experience. And so, what works and drives the force of your life is the spirit within you. So your approach and your focus and your clarity has to come from the spirit of you. And I'm not talking about religion. Are you with me? Yeah. I'm talking about the essence of who you are that nobody else is. And also the essence of you that is the same that everybody else is. And so today you are here to give yourself that gift of focus. What is the more that you really want? That's not connected to materialism, but connected to the big why of why you're here. So, in all things, you have to name it to claim it. You can't have it unless you actually know what you want. So if anybody here is in any state of confusion and you're not sure and not working, what I realize is while you're waiting on God, while you're waiting on the life force, while you're waiting on the universe, while you're waiting on the answers, it's waiting on you. It's waiting on your clarity. When you get clear, everything clears up. So we're going to start with wellness. What that means to you. What it means to you may not mean to me. Here's my definition of what wellness means. To me, it's all things in balance. Yeah. Because at the core of me, I recognize is the same as the core of you. I recognize, as I was saying, we all long for the same things. Ultimately, health and relationships and career and finances. What you want is for all of that to coexist in perfect flow with your spiritual center. Because there is no life without a spiritual life. There is no life without a spiritual life, because you are spirit first. And achieving this and knowing this is the highest form of wellness and well-being. So when I say all things in balance, people think, oh, well, Oprah, I guess you could balance your life. Because you got so much money and everything, and so. I'm not talking about money, although it's a wonderful thing. It is a wonderful thing. It's wonderful. And I earned every dime. Nobody gave me nothing. Okay? So I'm very proud of that. I own that. But I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about balance. And balance does not mean all things are equal or at peace at all times. Balance means you welcome. So this is why so many of us get messed up. You welcome the constant shifting flow in your life. You welcome it. So many of us get messed up because you think life is supposed to move in a straight line, and you get all thrown when things go off, when it really isn't. I've learned you can have it all, you just cannot have it all at once. It doesn't work that way. All in balance, just like the wave in the ocean of life. We mirror nature. It's just like a wave. So things aren't going to always be the same. They're constantly moving, constantly changing, constantly in flow. And so your real job, my friends, is to figure out where and what is the space of your flow. And then leave everybody else's flow alone. Because you only have power in your stream, your flow. It's just like Glinda the Good Witch said to the Wicked Witch of the East when she's come messing into territory. She says, go away because you have no power here. Same thing with all of us. You only have power in your own life, in your own flow. And once your kids have been raised, you are no longer the manager, you're just a consultant. So stop managing where you ought to be consulting. Manage your own flow, control your own center, and your life improves, because that's all you gotta do, is find the flow. And so I spend my life teaching this to my girls in South Africa, so that now when they're in trouble, they don't say, oh, this thing or that thing happened. They say, Mamo, I'm out of flow. Well, that's your job to get yourself back in flow. I can't do that for you. So for me, the center of knowing what the flow is, the center of wellness, is actually presence. And we hear a lot about that now. People talk about mindfulness and living in the present moment. If you can realize that all is well at any given moment, despite the swirl, despite what just happened to you, despite the phone call you just got that said something tragic happened, despite the illness that may be swirling around you, despite your bills that need to be paid. If you can just breathe with me for this moment. Take a deep breath. Take another one. And in this moment, recognize that you are well. You are here and you are well. In this moment, all is well with you. Now outside, swirling around, all the stresses, worry, negative energy, that's out there. But in here, in the center of you, you are well, you are strong, and only you are in control of your well-being. One thing that's difficult for all of us to manage, of course, is, the phones. I get so irritated because somebody texts you and then 20 minutes later they're like, did you get my text? I'm like, I have to set some boundaries. It's like in the old days when the phone rang, you thought you had to answer it, and now when somebody texts, you think you've got to answer it immediately. We have to be able to set boundaries around our present moments so that you can get to the quiet and the stillness and the presence within yourself. One of the most critical times for me, I have a big, full life. People think that I left the Oprah show and I retired. Not. And so, on any given day, multiple things are always going on. First of all, I still sign all of my own big checks, and I handle all bank transfers. I do all of that myself. And so, watch the money.
Watch the money.
And so, nothing gets done if I'm not able to make the phone call to transfer the money to do stuff. So I could be in the middle of meetings and a wire needs to go, or I have interviews or being interviewed or whatever. And what I do all day long is check in with myself. So if you were to see me on a shoot, sometimes I'm just sitting in a corner and I'm just like going inside quietly with myself between the breaks. Getting ready, here I was getting ready to do something for WW, but I had to take a moment. Now, people aren't used to seeing people just go inside themselves and take a moment. So when this happens on set, people are always like, is she all right? Did we say something? Is she upset? What's happening? It's just me taking a moment. But the team who's worked with me for a long time knows this is how I keep my energy moving all day. I go inside, I check in with spirit, I have some stillness and quiet, then I come back out. People who don't know that wonder what's going on. So, because it's so rare to see people who are actually sitting and being quiet. And this is what I know. You can find quiet wherever you are. And I begin my day with it. I move into the world of noise and chaos by spending some time in the quiet. And I know everybody has days like that when stuff is swirling all around you and you just want to go and sit on the toilet seat in the bathroom. Do that. Check in with yourself. So I am constantly practicing staying present and being conscious all day. So my day begins with quiet. When I awaken, the first thing I think, if I'm like, oh, I'm still alive, isn't this great? It's usually my first thought. My first thought is, thank you. I made it again. Hey, another day. And I sleep with blackout shades because the sun comes up on my side. And I have this extraordinary moment every day when you hit the button and the blackout shades raise, and you never know what kind of day it's going to be. And every day, there that sun is. I call that sunrise faith. Because no matter what the hell is going on in your life, that sun's going to show up. That sun shows up. And so the faith to know that that sun is going to show up, and even when you're on the ground sometimes, does this happen to you? This is my favorite moment in any airplane. You're on the ground, it's raining, it's cloudy, and then you shoot through the clouds, and there it is. There it is, because it always was there. You just couldn't see it. That's what sunrise faith is knowing it's always there, even when you can't see it. So, I start the day with, thank you. Then get the dogs out. And while they're out doing their yippity-yappity poo thing, I usually have just a moment of stillness and quiet. It's not a full meditation, it's just a way to center up. It's a way to say, thank you, I'm still here. It's a way to set my intention for the day. So, quiet, prayer, meditation, gratitude, thinking about how I'm going to use my life, my skills, my offering in service today. Because I will tell you this, whatever job you may have that actually puts food on your table, whatever your career path may be, if you choose to see it differently, that it's not just a job, but it's your offering to the world in service. Because the greatest quote I love from Martin Luther King is that not everybody can be famous. Too bad he went around for selfies. Not everybody can be famous, but everybody can be great, because greatness is determined through service. So when you get to see your work, whatever that work is, and particularly if you are a mother, anybody in here caring for somebody, for anybody, that is the real work of life. Raising children and nurturing them and giving them your love and support and being creative and cooking meal after meal after meal after meal. And you have to do another meal the next day because they're hungry again. It just never ends.
Do you ever see those posts that
The
Susan
service that you're offering to the world,
puts on about her
seeing the
boys, how
world
much they
through the
eat?
value of your service changes the work. So, the most critical is understanding this word mindfulness, I think. Being able to stay present is also the reason, after talking to thousands of people over the years, I'm still able to have aha moments. It was Mr. Rogers who said that the presence that you give to a child is actually the most important gift you can give. Your presence, being really there. And those of you who are doing that with your children, that's the real work. I was watching a woman on one of those carriage rides in Chicago once, and she was on the carriage ride with the horse, driving down the street, which makes no sense to me, actually, in the middle of traffic, and the horse is like so confused. The horse is like, why wasn't I born in the 1800s? I'm out here with all these cars on the street because somebody wants a carriage ride. And so the woman's in the carriage ride with her children, and the entire time we were following alongside her, and we ended up at every stoplight. The entire time of the carriage ride, the woman is on her cell phone. And the kids are looking bored, and I thought she would get home and say, oh, we had the most amazing carriage ride. And she was never actually there for it. So, this is what I know. One of the great lessons I learned is doing the Oprah show all these years, that everybody you know is looking for your presence, because everybody you encounter just wants one thing. They just want to know that they are being heard. And so every argument that you have, every confrontation that you have, every experience where somebody is upset, what they really want to know is, do you hear me? Do you hear me? And did what I say mean anything? Your last fight was about not what it looked like, but underneath the surface is about, are you hearing me? Can you see that what I'm saying actually means something to you? So your being fully present with someone lets them know that they are important to you. And by doing that, you're building your own practice. So a lot of people have trouble getting started. They don't know where to, or how to be mindful, which really means just to live in the now. And one of the first things I think is to release the comparison thing. That whole comparison of when I get that job, when I get in a better house, when I finish college, when I leave my spouse, when I reach my goal weight. The goal weight is a comparison story that I have deep experience in. On that tape earlier, you saw Joan Rivers. And that was one of the most shameful moments for me. And everybody knows that, you experience my ups and downs. So let's start with that moment with Joan Rivers on The Tonight Show. It was, first of all, I am wearing white stockings.
Oh my God.
And I did not go to nursing school. What's unfortunate is this photo doesn't show my feet. Right at the end, you can see just a little tip of glitter. I'm wearing a pair of a Stuart Weitzman shoe that I paid $800 for that shoe. It was the first time I ever spent like over $100. This was 1985 for a shoe. So it's like $800. Oh my God, I'm gonna spend this because it's my first time on this night show. And the whole time I was thinking, same thing I was thinking when I was a little girl in Mississippi doing Easter speeches on stage and wearing patent leather shoes. Anybody? Is some people ever did an Easter speech in here? Is there any girl in here ever wore patent leather shoes with your white socks in here? So I'm on stage doing the Easter speech, Jesus rose on Easter Day, hallelujah, hallelujah, and all the angels proclaim. But all I'm thinking, I'm not thinking about Jesus, I'm thinking, do you see my shoes? Jesus rose on Easter Day. Hallelujah. So, sitting there with Joan, I'm just like, see my shoes, see my shoes.
Oh my God.
And instead, she asked me about my weight. Now, if y'all never been on the Tonight Show, let me tell you how it works. They have a pre-interview before where they tell you everything they're going to talk to you about.
Yeah.
So that when they walk out and then that person's using a little list. How'd you gain the weight was not on the list. So it was the first time I was on the Tonight Show. I was so excited that I bought the white stockings. And I had that dress made, the whole thing. And I could not believe it when she said it. You heard me say on the tape. I think she actually said, how'd you gain the weight? But all I heard, fat, 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 you are fat, fat, fat. And I thought that wasn't we weren't supposed to be talking about that. And my best friend Gail, who's been everywhere with me, she was in the back going, oh Lord, oh Lord, oh no.
Oh boy.
The truth is, it was humiliating because anybody here who knows that you have a weight problem or that you want to lose some weight, you actually don't need anybody to tell you that.
Right.
You don't need anybody to say,
How'd you
put
gain
on
the
a
weight?
few pounds. You don't need anybody. And you really don't need anybody to tell you that on national television.
Right.
So I felt like I'd been outed for not being the size I was supposed to be. And can you imagine, all of us, you know, if you have ever been in the range where you're not on the racks, and that is like beyond 14, I was beyond 14 there, and you have to go get something made, or this is before the forgotten moment or anything, you know how much anxiety that is. You know how much you've thought about what you're gonna wear and how you're gonna look and what, so then when you're out there on the stage and then the person says, the person named Joan Rivers says, why did you gain the weight? And shame on you for that. Shame on you. You shouldn't let that happen to you. I was so humiliated. I didn't know what to do. And when she asked me, you know, how did this happen? I was like, I like potato chips.
She does love them. She used to.
Joan, I just love Lay's.
She does.
So it was my worst fear realized. I recognized, oh yeah, I really am being judged by my size. And it did not motivate me to lose weight. You know what I did? We made a bet on that Tonight Show that I was gonna lose 15 pounds and come back. And what I did when I left the Tonight Show, I went straight to a place called Papa Milano's. Some of the best Italian food in Chicago. And I had my last meal for about 2 weeks.
No.
And like so many of you, sooner or later, I would have to say, I was lured to a quick fix. Because not only did I not lose the 15 pounds, the weight just kept coming on. You might remember the most watched moment in Oprah show history. This was, and still is, the most watched moment in history.
For the wagon.
Yes.
As of this morning, 67 pounds since July
Look at
7th.
that.
67 pounds, and this is what 67 pounds.
Well, you couldn't tell me nothing that day. I
Couldn't
was
tell me nothing.
so exhilarated in that moment. I had accomplished a goal. I spent 4 months not eating. I think I used something called OptiFast at the time, which was all, somebody else has done that too? Yeah. Full-scale liquid diet. And all I could think about, even as I was pulling out the wagon of fat, was where I was going to be eating that night. True.
I think she ate a
Even though I
hamburger.
was thinner than I'd ever been, it's actually not the picture of wellness or self-care or well-being, and certainly is not all things in balance. I actually have trouble looking at that moment because I know what was going through my head. That whole 4 months, I was saying to myself, I'm gonna get rid of the shame, I'm gonna get rid of the shame, I'm gonna fit the mold that everybody thinks that I should be, I'm gonna look like what a successful TV personality is supposed to look like. Even though, I will tell you, that's the exact opposite of why the show is a success. Because as soon as I lost the weight, people were like, oh, you're too thin, you're too thin. But the truth is, I wasn't healthy in that picture. I was actually, that is what I look like when I've starved. And by that evening, okay, I was 142. By the evening, I was 145. And by the end of the week, I was 150. And I got a call from Don Johnson of Miami Vice. Yes. Don called me and asked if I would come to a Christmas party, and I did not go to the party because I thought I'd gained 8 pounds that week and everybody would be talking about how fat I was. So I stayed home. And not long after that, I read Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. This is before she decided to run for president.
I read it.
And she has a very famous quote in it that everybody thought was Nelson Mandela. But she says in that book, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is actually that we are powerful beyond measure. Powerful beyond measure. And she continued writing, saying, we ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant? Who am I to be gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? And when I read that, something clicked for me there. Powerful beyond measure. I realized that I spent a whole lot of my life afraid of people saying, you're full of yourself. Or who does she think she is? That's the thing I feared. Because you want everybody to like you, and somebody says, oh, who does she think she is? You're just like, oh, nobody, I'm just okay. I'm just like everybody else. So our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that you're powerful beyond measure, and you don't want anybody to actually know how powerful you are. So I started working on making myself feeling full, spiritually full. And that's what I want for everybody here. I want your spiritual fullness. I want you not to be afraid, as I was for so long, of who does she think she is. I want you to be so full your cup runneth over. And people say, oh, I don't even know who she is. Who is that? So what's holding you back from the highest, truest vision of yourself? The highest, truest, purest vision of yourself as a human being. That's really what you want. What's holding you back from that? That's what you've come to fulfill, not just here to the BB&T. That's what you've come to fulfill on the planet. The highest, truest, purest vision of yourself as a human being. So that's the real work for you for 2020 and beyond, to start thinking about that. Do not walk through life as the walking dead and not know the answer to that important question. What's the truest, highest vision for you? You can, you will, and we're all gonna watch and support you come up with that vision for your life. You know, I spent 50 plus years lamenting the fullness of my shape and allowing other people to do the same. But today, right here, right now, I give thanks for the body I'm in. Yes. And I've been blessed to have it. Particularly this year of 2020, because last fall, I got sick. And I got scared serious.
She did get sick, yeah.
This is the way my life works. So this is also key when you leave here today, is to know the pattern of your life. How does your life work? If you pay attention, you will get the pattern. So my life works in signs. I get signs. And signs are everywhere. Sometimes they're just on the TV.
Yeah.
Sometimes somebody comes in and they say something, or you read something. So I'm always paying attention. So obviously, I had not been paying attention, because when you don't pay attention to the whisper gets louder and louder and turns into a problem and then turns into a crisis. So what you want to do is get the whisper. So here's the deal. I had gone to a meeting and I didn't feel like going to the meeting, but people that were coming in from out of town, so I drove to LA from Santa Barbara, and I was sick. And I'm the kind of person, sick, I don't care, I will crawl to show up to keep my word. So I went to the meeting, and in the middle of the meeting, I start to get a pain in my side. So I literally am crawling back into the security van to go home, and I have this pain, but I'm trying to ignore it. I'm trying to find a way to sit in the seat that I don't feel the pain. I get home, I have a cold, I have the flu, I can hear somebody talking through the speakers, you all need to cut that out. Hello, you're talking through the speakers here. Hello? Thank you. Thank you. Stop talking. Okay. So, I'm in the car, I get home, and I crawl into bed, and I'm gonna do the whole chicken soup thing. And, you know, anytime you're telling about you're sick, then everybody's got a ginger and a zinc thing, and a turmeric, and a lemon thing, and some honey thing, and a thing. So everybody has told me all this, I'm drinking everything, everybody's giving me, but I still have this pain in my side. By the next day, I'm bent over in pain. So I have to go to the emergency room. And by the time I get to the emergency room, I don't have the pain anymore.
Yeah.
Now I'm embarrassed. Because I really did have the pain. It's right here. So they say, well, it sounds like you passed a kidney stone, because I'd just gone to the bathroom for it. So by the time I got in the car, I don't feel the pain anymore. So now I'm like, I really did have the pain, y'all. I really did have the pain. So they decide we're gonna give you a CAT scan to see if you pass the kidney stone. They come back, they say, we don't see a kidney stone, but we do see pneumonia.
Oh.
You have pneumonia. Oh, I have pneumonia. So they give me they say, we're gonna give you the antibiotics. We don't think we have to keep you overnight, but we're gonna give you the antibiotics. In a week, I was worse because it was not the right antibiotics. So now I go to a lung specialist. I go to visit the lung specialist, Dr. Kupperman, and Dr. Kupperman puts a stethoscope up against my chest, and I see the oh shit look on his face.
Uh-oh. You got something wrong.
I mean, it's like, it's more than it's like, oh. So I think, oh, this is not good. He says, how are you breathing? You sound like you've got a lot of congestion, and it sounds like, literally, I said, I told you before I came here that it feels like a rattlesnake in there. The fluids are so, I can feel the fluids moving around my chest. He goes, oh no, this is bad, this is very bad. He says, you, young lady, are grounded. I like the young lady part. You, young lady, are grounded. You are going nowhere for the next 30 days. I said, really?
Needed rest.
Can you put that in writing? Like, can you write that down so I can show everybody? He goes, no, I'm serious. I go, no, I'm serious too, I'm serious. So it's the first time in my life I actually canceled everything. I've never canceled anything. For 25 years and 37,000 interviews on the Oprah show, I showed up sick, flu, whatever, because I knew you were coming. I knew that people were coming. And they were coming with their cousins or their friends and their sisters, and a few good men. And that you had gotten your nails done, your hair done, you got a new outfit, you told at least 27 people that you were coming, and that you did not want to get to Chicago and hear Oprah is sick. That you would want proof. So I would drag myself in and they'd say, oh, you're so sick. You should go home after this show. I did that. Never, 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 never. If I make a commitment, I am going to keep that commitment. So for me to cancel everything, meetings, I had shoots in New York and all this stuff, appearances, appointments. The people who know me best were worried. So was I, so was the doctor. Because as I said, it felt like that death rattle. When I go back to the doctor, another week after being on another set of antibiotics, literally when I walked in and he heard my chest, the doctor hugged me. He goes, "Can I get a hug? Can I get a hug? Because thank you so much for getting better." And I realized, oh, this doctor was scared. This doctor said, "I do not want Oprah Winfrey dying on me." Oh, no, please. Baby Black Jesus, help her. Black baby Jesus came to my aid. I will tell you this, in the midst of my sickness, I actually got happy. I got happy. Because in all instances, whenever I'm in the crisis, whenever I'm in the difficulty, I ask, what is this here to teach me? What is this here to show me? What is it I missed that I had to get pneumonia and be grounded for 30 days that I couldn't see? So what am I supposed to see that I'm not seeing? That's how you look at your life. Not, oh my God, why is this happening to me? I can't believe it. I got so much to do. Why? What did I need to learn that I still hadn't gotten? So what I really got was, how could I ever have lived one moment of shame, regretting any part of this extraordinary, miraculous machine of a body that I've been given? If my body with pneumonia now is going to have to heal itself, I followed the doctor's orders to the letter, and I was reminded that we all have the capacity to heal, to recover, and exceed whatever limitations you believe are holding you back. You have that. You have that thing. And you know you have it, otherwise you wouldn't be out here on a Saturday. So, not why me, but show me what this is here to teach me. So the ultimate form of wellness for me today, this year and for the rest of my life and my time here on earth, is to live in the rhythm of my own life, growing more deeply and fully into myself. That's what you want, that's what I want. To be, as Marianne Williamson said so beautifully all those years ago, powerful beyond measure for what you have come to offer the planet at this particular space and time. So, I become lighter when I do that, physically, emotionally, when I embrace the flow. So my message to you today is to find that flow for you and embrace it. Stop resisting going against the grain of your life. Everyone has a flow. If you're not in flow and you're out of the current that is the stream of your life, things don't go well. And my hope for all of us today is to understand that that well-being is the ability to see in this moment how really well you are, no matter where you are on your wellness journey. Embrace your body, embrace your mind, and use your spirit to get you to the next best place in your life. So you are here, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. You're exactly where you're supposed to be.
There you go.
Okay, there is a welcome bag under your chair.